Hello, gorgeous soul, and welcome to this epic podcast. This is a place where you are encouraged and you have absolute freaking permission to unapologetically go after all of your dreams, all of your visions, all of your things on your vision board, like everything that your heart desires. I'm your host, Angharad, the High Vibe Babe, and I believe that we're all in this life to expand and experience our wildest dreams. If one of us can have it, then we all can. So that is the aim of this podcast. Each week I'll either be going solo or have guests with the aim to inspire, uplift you and give you the tools for you to live your most epic AF life and business possible. You can find me on Instagram with the handle @HighVibeBabe. Now let's get into today's episode. Hey, High Vibe Babes, I'm Angharad here. Welcome back to this podcast. Today I have an extremely amazing guest, and I've never really told you actually, but I view you as like another mother to me, Conny.
Oh, thank you.
Conny is like the warmest energy you could possibly imagine, and I've not met her in real life yet, but she was my first ever coach, Viola Hug. This is her mother, so we were in group coaching containers and stuff together, and yeah, she's just like the most amazing woman. But I'm going to formally introduce her and then get her to share all her wisdom and a whole lot of great things are going to go on this podcast. So Conny is a nurse of 40 years, an intuitive healer, and an online wellness and life coach. She is the founder of the Mission for More Wellness Hub and is known as Healthy Conny with a Y on Instagram. Stepping into her power as a light leader, she now coaches and guides others to move far beyond limitations towards more love, happiness, and health by aligning what's needed on all levels, mind, body, and soul. She has been awarded a leading change in the nursing industry in Germany, USA, Canada, and New Zealand. Through life experiences, in-depth knowledge, and alignment with her purpose, Conny shines her light for others to rise. One of her clients said, "This woman is pure magic, soup for the soul," by Marie G. Welcome to the podcast, Conny.
Thank you so much for having me, Angharad. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so glad we're here and able to chat in this way and be able to connect, and for our listeners to be able to hear more about you and what it is that you do and the journey that life has taken you on. So do you want to share a bit about the informal side, like what's been going on in your life recently and what's led you to where you are now?
Well, as you just said, I'm pretty much a nurse my whole life. I graduated from school and I went into nursing as a young student, and this career pretty much stuck with me my entire time till now, and I'm still actually working in a full-time position as a nurse. But I always had my love for looking at living, in a holistic way, integrating herbal remedies. That was my big thing when I was young. I was so into homeopathy and into, like stretching and moving our body like yoga. But I could never, of course, use that in the work I did where I got paid for. That was super restricted, kind of narrow-minded policies, rules, and everything. So although I function quite well in the corporate world, in this nursing role, I was always that little drive in my heart that I really wanted to give people all my knowledge. Like, I know so much more, I can help you, like sometimes it's actually only a glass of water, or sometimes it's a listen to you. And, people need so much more than just medications and, nursing care. Like nursing actually can have it all, I believe. But how we practice nursing in our medical world is like so restricted for me that there was never, I could not give everything I had. So, and in my life, I've met my beautiful partner and husband, who I married later in my life, already when I was in school. So many, many years ago. And we really grew together and left Germany. I immigrated with my husband to Canada together. And it was just an amazing journey, like exploring the world. And my heart really vibes when I can be close to nature, when I can explore, when I have adventures in my life. And my husband was the same way. So we kind of lived an adventurous life. And even though we had 3 children, it never stopped us moving around and going to another place. And my husband was a musician, so he was always open to explore new areas and play with different musicians and go to different festivals and music events and parties. Like, we were always kind of on the go, like, for that. And then what really changed for me, my life, was that my husband got very sick with cancer and he died. And he left me with 3 young children. And there was such a big hole in my life. And I actually had to put myself, just to function, completely back together after that, and just being a mother and trying to survive. But from then on, there was that seed planted that I have to really look after me, that I have to lead myself, that I have to look, for the family. I have to be the role model. I have to show my children the path. So I had this huge job now to understand myself more, to learn how to be a leader, which I haven't done before. I was more leaving that all to my husband. And I was on a journey, and then my children got bigger, and now my children all left home, which is really exciting. And I decided last year that I would just leave my job. And I lived at the time in New Zealand, because after my husband died, I also immigrated to New Zealand because that was my husband's last wish. But when I was living in New Zealand now for many, many years, I came to this time when I said, wow, when I raised all those children, I kept myself healthy, I kept myself sane. I also know that I have so much more to give than just what I can give in my nursing job. So I actually had this dream to be like an online coach, and I was a gut health expert initially. And about a year ago, I did launch my life coaching business, which was so beautiful, because it really resonates with my heart. And last year, I also gave up everything I ever owned, packed a little suitcase, and left my job in New Zealand, which honestly, I was in a time in my life where everything was almost set for me. I had a home, I had a beautiful garden, I had a job which I really, really liked. I had like a good income, and everything seemed to be so like final. I worked so hard to get there. I had achieved everything kind of what I thought I needed to really feel safe and grounded and supported. But I didn't have another husband yet. I was still on my own. But something in me last year said, just let it all go and see what happens in the world when you just really go and let your soul run off and try to find other levels, other adventures, and just see what happens in the world. And it took a lot of courage to do that. But I did do it. And I tell you, that was the most amazing journey that last year, because I just let everything go, and I was just open for every day should be gifted with presents and beautiful days and awesome people and awesome adventures. And exactly that happened. I was taken care of. I always had a beautiful place to live. I always had enough food to eat. I always had enough money, and everything felt so beautifully in place since I allowed just my intuition to guide me. That that's kind of like another level in my life, and that's where I'm right now.
Wow, that is so inspiring. Like, honestly, so freaking inspiring, because, even like living that sort of life where you just allow yourself to be led by your spirit and led by your intuition, and like choose fun over like structure and, safety and, all these sorts of things. It's difficult for us at any age, like to do that, but you actually did do it. And like, like my mother's in probably a similar sort of age group as you, and imagining her like, like she's just so connected to us kids and stuff. So like changing country and everything would just be like so different for her. So I really want to like commend you for going on that journey for yourself, because you freaking deserve it. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I and the more I live my life, what comes out of me, like what my soul wants, what I feel really joyful with, the more I get to know myself too, because you don't really know yourself until you really just let go of all the rules you make around yourself. I was a person who was very fearful, very anxious really all my life, despite, going on adventures like that. I always had a lot of anxiety in my body, and I never really called it that. I never really acknowledged it as such, but it was like underlying in so many years in my life, in so many situations. And then finally naming it and saying, I can live with you, I can turn it around, and I can use you to like come to new levels and be just like a bigger person, be a wiser person, and be like more there for people. Like it just really, it changed something inside of me too. I know I feel safe now wherever I am, because I'm born, I have a right to be here, I'm worthy, and I'm enough just to be, without doing and performing and hitting, A1s and all that. I mean, we all have a little bit of a perfectionist in ourselves, but I'm okay if I'm not perfect too now. So, like I did a lot of inner work, and it's awesome work. I think every person has to do that through his lifetime, because it brings us so much satisfaction, so much joy. And that's what I'm here now to help people to find as well.
Wow, that is beautiful. So, do you want to share, like, you touched on anxiety, which is something that a lot of us has felt. And, like, for me, I have a similar sort of story where I didn't even acknowledge that I had it for such a long time. How you shifted that anxiety to, like, really be able to serve you, and what was the cause of your anxiety? That, like, what was it trying to show you? What was it showing you?
I think what I now looking back into my life, right? I had a huge need for safety, of
Mm.
security, and I always connected that with finances. So for me, having a job, and I was a nurse, which was really a blessing for me and my husband, because the nursing profession, once you are accepted in a different country, you can pretty much like work in many different countries, so in many different cities, and there's always seemed to be like enough work around for nurses. So for me to feel that need to feel safe, I just plugged down and I did my full-time work, and I maybe did extra shifts, and like if there would be like, and that was the only way I knew to make money. So I always kind of were almost slave to the job. And I, oh, there's more money, somebody is sick, oh yeah, I'll take the extra shift. Like, and giving up that precious time for myself to maybe have fun at the beach, or spend time really with my children and take them to places. That my highest law was having that financial security and safety. And then I would have enough money to pay my bills, and I always would save a little bit. I was always kind of, my mom really was like smart, teaching me to always put a little bit in your savings every pay. So when I had a little bit of chunk of money, then there was time again, either we would go on a holiday, or my husband, his music, he was a musician, and he wanted to have a big recording studio, so he could record his work and other people's work. That was kind of his business. So when we kind of collected a bit of money, then that would go into his business to expand that, because that was a big dream of ours. So there was always, money was always there in my life. I have never ever not had money. I can see that now, but my worry and my anxiety around not having money was huge. And I don't even know why that was like that. It was not like it. My theory is I took that over from like my parents. I was kind of trained to think that way, maybe as a young child, or maybe even in the gene pool when I was a baby. That was a concern in my mom, and I carried that through. But that is something which I carried for so many years, and I didn't even know why. And never that I ever had struggled with money, because there was always money when I wanted to do something.
Mm.
And I really had to do that deep inner work. Why do I need to feel safe? It's because I actually don't think I'm good enough to be worthy just to be. I thought I'm only safe when I do something and I get reimbursed with money. Or why do I put money and that's so safety on mine? I had to really ask myself those deep questions, and I realized in the end, that it's only my mind, it's my viewpoint, it's not the real reality behind it. So I could just call it differently. I could just change my belief. I learned about changing my limiting beliefs to more empowering beliefs. And I would chant mantras, and I would, get up in the morning, and I had a really good morning routine to really like trust myself and feel light and beautiful, and everything is fine and I'm safe. And I learned about spirit guides, and that we have a team unseen who always accompanies us, and we can tap into this like intuition, that higher knowledge, and that spiritual guidance we have. So I kind of developed that more, and it's like it was a journey. It didn't come overnight, and one came to the other, and and then I just, and honestly, when I say it now, I probably leave it and I can really live my life in a very different level. But sometimes that anxiety still shows up, and then I just welcome it, because I know it so well now, and put it in its place. I said, yeah, you're right, that is a lot of money I could spend there, but I really want it, and it's worth it, and I'll do it. And then my anxiety, or my fears of not having enough money later, they just go away. I think that's how I did it.
That's beautiful and really powerful too, right? And to recognize like the lack for money. I actually am the same, and probably my husband's the same too. Like, we definitely have been through periods where, it's scary to invest and scary to do these things, and it holds us back because we've never actually experienced scarcity, like ever. We're never
No.
not going to put food on the table, or not be able to pay our bills, or be kicked out of a house, or to anything like that, right?
Yeah.
But I also totally for myself and my husband, like all of those things you mentioned, right, about like our parents, some stuff in our younger childhood and stuff. But I also think that it's probably like generational trauma that's been passed down through how we've been conditioned, how our parents are conditioned as they're being raised by their parents back from like the war, and even further back than that, right? Like forever and ever and ever and ever. There's so much conditioning that does get passed down through, and just naturally how we parent, because this is just the way it is. And so we're tied and locked into these realities, these paradigms that aren't actually true for us, but we're acting as if they are when they're actually not.
That is so true. And it's probably many, many generations when you really think about it, right? It's like a society, a whole society of people probably think that way. When I talk to my clients, I mean, so many have that in common as well. We just tie so much on that scarcity thinking, and that the money or the finances is like on a pedestal instead of values, which we all have too, but we always think they have to come second or third. Our children, right? Our family, our health. Why does it have to come third or fourth? That's really what I know now is so important to me, right? There is nothing more important than like family and looking after people. And, I have such a big heart for people anyway. When I see something and I can do something to help, I will stand up and do it. There's no question about it, right? And so many people are like that. But the scarcity thinking and the thinking we are not good enough, they just sometimes block us and not allow us to live out what we actually are able to give and able to receive.
Yeah, I totally agree. So one of the things you do with your clients, and obviously you do for yourself and embody for yourself, is like intuitive healing and like intuitive living and stuff. So do you want to speak a little bit about that for us?
Yeah, so I'm a nurse for many years, and I always thought, that's a profession that's kind of suited me. I didn't want to be that when I was a child. Actually, my dream job was like a childcare worker, just playing with kids all day. But for some reason, there was no opening for education places in Germany at the time. So they said, there's a few extra spots open in the pediatric nursing degree, the education. Why don't you apply there? And then they had an opening and I did get in there. So that's kind of how I started my career in nursing, but it always suited me. First, I was only with the little ones for the first few years. And then later I graduated as a general nurse and I did more of the grown-up work. But it was always the job I felt I knew what my patient needed. I knew exactly, and all my patients, I tell you, they love me. They always see that I listen to them. I look at them. When I come in the room and I see a patient, I already know what they need. And I thought everybody does that. Everybody knows about that. But through my inner work and through my understanding of myself, I actually realized that it's not something everybody has. And I understand that now. That is actually a healing gift I have, and that's like one of my gifts coming into this world, that I'm actually a healer, and I'm this healer in the new paradigm, almost in the new world, where I can really help people to connect the soul and the intuition, like with our humanness, with our 3D bodies, with our world, with our world. So I can see what people need, and that's very handy when you are a nurse and working in nursing. Although sometimes I'm also super restricted in what I'm allowed to do, but I can do all of that in my own life coaching. And I call it life coaching because I needed kind of a title to it, but it's almost like it's such a wraparound kind of healing. And when I say I heal the body, the mind, and the soul in combination, it's a really holistic view. I see like you in your community, I see all the pillars which you need to be a strong, upright person, the abundance you have and the worthiness you have. So that's what I try to increase. And because I have this intuitive healing gift, I often can just offer people, on the physical level or on the soul level, what they need to, help the healing. So that's I'm very lucky with that I've been gifted with that.
That is so beautiful, and hearing that you've always done that as a nurse, like you walk in and see your patients and know what they need, but you didn't even know that it was like, not that everyone had it. It's so...
And when other nurses run in and they take the blood pressure and they look at the numbers and that, we do lots of things to people to know what they are, and, and it has to be documented, and then the doctor can look at it and he figures out what they need. But actually I can come and see a person and I know what they need. It's very like when I realized that I can do that and others can't, because I always thought everybody does it that way.
Yeah.
And I wondered, why do they always want all the numbers? And I do take the numbers too, but don't you see how gray he looks? You know, something is not right.
Yeah, I
Sore.
oh my gosh, that is so beautiful. I really, really do love it. And I think that's like a sign that, you know, it's so like for me, I think it's so ingrained into what we do and it's brings so many results and it's just so normal to us that it's just like a natural extension. We're like, oh wait, this isn't what everyone else experienced. And I think that's a really beautiful place for us to be offering services or teaching other people to do that, because it's so highly integrated into, like, we're definitely in mastery of it at that point if we think that everyone else does it, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I believe many people do have that gift as well. There's probably lots of intuitive healers in the world, but I haven't met many yet.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
that's really incredible. And I was just hearing you speak about like feeling restricted as a nurse, that you like, obviously I understand the dynamics to an extent of healthcare, right? Being, you know, an amazing recipient of it. So blessed to be able to have it in our country, New Zealand.
Exactly.
But yeah, there would be a very high level of restriction in
Yeah.
regards to that. And I was thinking, you're a manifesting generator, right? Is that my correct?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I can just imagine for a manifesting generator how that would feel, and you know, because you guys just have so many things going on. So to have like your business where you can encompass every part of you and every part of your knowledge and every part of your intuitive everything, it's just like so divine and perfect for you. It would feel so fulfilling, right?
Yes, exactly. I mean, when I had my first coaching client, I was on a cloud for like weeks, because there's something happens when you have clients, that energetic exchange, and then you see the breakthrough, you understand, you see that widening of their aura, almost of their consciousness, and you know, and things happen and they develop. Like, it's the most beautiful thing, and it's actually as well beautiful for a coach as for the person who is being coached. There's such beauty to have that guidance that helps through life, from that one-on-one situation, or even in programs as well. I think there's really, that's where the magic is in that connection with two people, when their gifts come together and their minds, you know, there's like so much exponential abilities and potential in there. It's like so powerful. I love it. And so satisfying too, isn't it?
Oh yes, I totally agree, and that's the generator satisfaction coming out in you as well. But it really does feel really magical to see. It's like perfect timing, right? Like when our clients come to us and they're ready to invest in the whatever it is that we've got on offer, it's like phenomenal. And I think that's probably like similar to both of our journeys too, right? Like when we did start, when did you start investing in yourself? Tell us a little bit about that. Like when did you get into personal development and stuff?
So after my husband died, my greatest fear, because he asked me to take those children to New Zealand. So what do? You know, I pack up my things, I sell the house. My husband actually had it all lined up for me before he died. This is the container you're gonna accompany to ship your container down.
Wow.
And this is, you know, where you get the tickets, and you know, you already, because the job, I was 1 year in New Zealand before with my husband, and the same hospital sponsored me for my immigration later. So I had the job, you know, and I knew the city. So like things were super lined up even before he passed away. So I just had to go step by step to follow that path my husband laid out for me. And lucky he did, because otherwise I probably would have fallen in a hole. And then it took us 10 months to have everything together in Canada, to leave everything behind. And my 3 children and I moved and immigrated to New Zealand. And at that time, because I nursed my husband for about 3 years through his cancer, you know, worked full time or as much as I could. And my children helped out a lot with looking after him. But, you know, it was like also a journey where, you know, my energy probably was running down a bit because I worked so hard. And then the move over there and starting out in a new country. So after the first year when I was there, I was fatigued. I had gained so much weight. I just had not had energy as what I used to have, right? I was always like quick and easy and go for walks and, you know, do this and this and this. And I never tired, but at that time in my life, I was very tired. I was grumpy. I had no patience for my children. Like everything was hard. Work was hard. Everything was hard. So my greatest fear was that I lose my own health as well, because I went to a country where I had no family and no one, and I had 3 kids I had to look after, and I could not just really purely afford to allow myself to get sick or die or anything. So after 1 year, there was this coincidence how it happens, right? One of my work colleagues, she said, come and look at this. This is a health company and they have awesome products. Go and look at that if that's something for you. And I said, oh my God, that's exactly what I need. It gives you energy. It gives you more health. It protects you from damage. I'm going to take that. And that was in 2006, a year after my husband died, starting to invest in my own health. And oh my God, it helped. My vision got so good. My energy changed. My weight, probably that took a few more years, but slowly kind of it just dropped off, because I'm not a dieter. I just eat what I want to eat, and whatever my weight does, my weight does. But naturally my weight just like slowly normalized, I think. But I felt so vibrant just by adding those health products into my life. But it was with a network marketing company. And one of the other benefits of being in a network marketing company, they train you how to be a good salesperson and to, offer this product to other people. But also they do a lot of personal development. So that's when I started my personal development journey. And it was first like CDs. Jim Rohn was my favorite back then, or going to like a little event in town, because we didn't have all that online stuff. And I started learning, and really all new things to me. Like I have not done any brain, like mindset work like that before in my life. That was that era where I kind of learned about it. And I tapered with that for a few years. I was actually moderately successful, I would say, showing other what health products I have and how good it works. And lots of people actually benefit from that product as well. Mm-hmm. And then at one time, and my daughter actually also joined this company, Viola, who you know very well, she just took it to a whole new level. She said, well, we have to go to the United States where the headquarters are, and we have to be there at the annual celebration and just see what's going on and learn from the really big people. There was a lot of learning, a whole week full packed with amazing speakers. So I said, oh, okay, I'm coming along. I want to come do that too. So I went with her, and she showed me that it was really, really good. And then I think that in 2014, then she said, Mom, anybody who wants to get big in the company, they have to also learn from Tony Robbins. He is a really, really awesome teacher. Mm-hmm. And there's this Unleash the Power Within. It's a 4-day event. And Mom, it's only, I think, $500 or $700. Let's go there together. And, I was always a bit stingy, I say scarcity thinking. Can I invest something in myself? But I was used now to invest in my health products. And then I invested in that money as well. And that blew my mind. And that actually took the lid off everything in my life, because it was a 4-day event. And I heard that he does the fire walk in there. But of course I thought, oh yeah, he's 4 days there. So it'll probably be the highlight at the end of the 4 days, to make it like a really good impression at the end, kind of in my human mind thinking. But you come there, and you get there early in the morning, line up to get in, and then there's like 2,000 people, and you're amidst all those people, and you get a good seat. And we actually had amazing seats right in the front. We saw him standing in front of us.
Wow.
Yeah, it was so amazing. And on the first day, he kind of talked a lot about mindset stuff and the human needs, and that same day he already prepared us for the fire walk, and I walked on fire that night.
No.
And it's like on hot coals, not like flaming fires, but it's hot. And you walk quite a long way. So there's like a way how you prep your mind and how you prep your body, and then you can actually walk on fire. And after that, it was like, what just happened? Mm-hmm. So I think on the second or the third day, he offers you to join him for his master university, which is an investment of $10,000. And I didn't hesitate. I signed up for that. Said, I don't have the money. I don't care where I get the money from. If other people go to the university, they take a loan. I can take a loan. I go to the university with Tony Robbins. And I went to the master university with him for like a few years after that. Probably 3 years. I at all the events and really cheering. And I thought I was almost 50. And I thought, my brain is like stuck in one way of thinking for 50 years. I'm not giving a massive hit right now. I'm not going to change. I just really, really, really wanted to change and have what I saw a glimpse of at that event. And it happened for me. It took a little while, but even my old mind would be able to make new pathways and new highways and thought patterns. And I think that was the trigger for me. And I'm grateful for my daughter up to today that she took me to that event. She actually didn't pass on with me after that. I went on my own and she did her own thing. But there it really encouraged me to come. And honestly, my children have been my guides and my coaches in this lifetime too. Like so often I ask my children what I should do and they can tell me what I have to do.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's one of the things I was actually talking about in my parenting mastermind at the moment with my clients, was that as a parent, I don't know, I always had this expectation that I would be teaching my kids things, but they have taught me more than I could have ever learned by myself. Like everything about myself and about them and about relationships and about dynamics and energy and human design and just so many things. They have created the biggest growth opportunity for me in my whole entire life, and I totally believe they're my guides as well. So it's incredible to have someone else view parenthood like that as well.
Oh, totally I so agree to that. Like my children, they have taught me more than anyone in this entire world. And even today, like it never ends. They grow up and they get bigger and they get their own children. I'm grandma now, but it teaches me so much just to be around them. It's like she's also my coach, my oldest daughter Viola. So definitely learn from her. An incredible leader.
That's so powerful. Actually, you know what? I would love to talk about that. Okay, so one of the things that people find really uncommon is that I have coached two of my sisters. Like they've paid for private coaching with me in my group coaching programs, and you obviously pay your daughter for coaching. So if you want to speak a little bit, let's have a conversation about that, because I've never had this conversation with anyone before. So what does this bring up for you? What's that been like working with your daughter, and why was that a no-brainer for you?
So when Viola was little, she always had this beautiful, it's almost like an essence, right? Like a shine and glow to her. Like she was so positive and she would never hesitate to try out something new. And I really, really like that. Like lots of little children, they wake up in the morning and they are happy. They are already enjoying their, I'm alive, I'm seeing you again. And they bring you so much joy. And I was a person up to the time when I had actually children, I was always grumpy in the morning. So already having this baby in my life, and my first, right? And smiling at me like I was a different person. And when the first time when I immigrated, like with my husband to Canada, I asked my daughter Viola, you want to go to Canada? And she said, yeah, let's go, Mom. And that was almost like, it probably wasn't the entire, like the volume of my decision, but that was a big part that she also was so for it. Like she was maybe 4.5 when we immigrated. And that was kind of that time. We have visited Canada before we were there. We came back to Germany and there was this big decision doing it. And we did immigrate and Viola was all for it. It was like so beautiful. I could always ask when I wanted to have a positive answer to something my soul wanted to do. I would ask my daughter Viola because she was always so for things. She never hesitated. And then I could kind of tap in that energy from my daughter to be so forward, and I could leave my fears behind and my scarcity thinking and move with that forward. And then, my logical mind took over and I kind of made the steps towards it, the human steps. But there was always that time. I think it's almost like my soul liked that spirit from Viola, that positive going into new events so lightheartedly. And I always liked that about her. And even when I went to New Zealand, Viola was very big in my decision making at that time as well. So honestly, I always kind of had Viola, and I always asked my child when I wanted to do something. Now, if I now would have wanted a decision where somebody tells me, no, be safe and save your money and don't invest in that, I probably wouldn't have asked her for that, right? I would have asked some other people for advice. I think maybe that's how it goes. So she was always in my space. And then I never actually considered coaching with her until the time I completely left New Zealand. Last year I started coaching with her. And I already left New Zealand. I did this whole big leaving, myself behind, and believing in abundance, and believing that I'll be protected and cared for in my entire life wherever I want. And I will, go like an experience of all this adventurous stuff I can do in the world. I will get that, right? I did that actually she was still there in my life, but she wasn't my coach at the time. But when I kind of left, and I think she had like an offer, maybe it was a money program in that time. But there was a program coming up, and it spoke so much to me. And I already did one program with her before, the Soulful Business Academy. But at that time, I just said, Viola, would you actually consider being my coach? Do like a one-on-one coach for me? Because I think, when we do that together, I can like create this online business, what I wanted to do. And I didn't know how, so much easier. And she actually thought about it too. And then she came back to me and she said, Mom, that feels all good with me. I think I can coach you. And I was like, oh, I'm all for it too. And then we started coaching, and oh my God, I can call her, and we are just mother and daughter, and we talk about, the normal stuff. But then we have booked a coaching call, and there's magic. Like I still sometimes just chat to her, and I tell her all the cry stuff I have to talk about. But there is like such a focus on growing me and challenging me and, pushing me forward in a very beautiful way, that coaching has been so beautiful for me. And I could not actually imagine any other coach, but I might have another coach one day. But I'm so happy with being coached by my own daughter. It's just her beauty, her essence. And Viola has grown so much. I mean, every time I look at her again, she's evolved a little more. She's learning. She's gobbling up all her own stuff. She needs to learn to evolve more. And she's like a continuously up-leveling person. And I love that about her too. Like, you want a coach who is investing in themselves as well, right?
Yeah.
Like you invest in yourself all the time. And that's 1,000%. Why you can give so much more. I mean, and there's always more to learn. In my limited mind from my former self, I always thought, oh, there's only so much you can say, and then there's nothing more to say, and there's only so much you can learn, and then there's nothing more to learn. Or I have to write a post on Facebook. Oh my God, I'm worried that I'm not going to have another idea tomorrow. Like, that was my scarcity thinking, but it all changed. Like, I know there's enough posts I can write. There's always enough to learn. There's always more. There's always another level. And that's a beautiful thing to know. And life is so fun when you do it that way, when you learn and walk through life. It's so beautiful. And then bringing that to other people, what I learned. I mean, that's the biggest gift of all, that I can pass it on. That's so beautiful too.
It's unbelievable. It is believable, but you know how we have like the two sides are like completely normal, but also completely like, wow, this is unreal. Yeah, all at the same time. And I really like resonate with how you're talking about, you can have a conversation, as mother and daughter, and then when you go to your coaching course, it's like completely different. And that's the same with like my sister, for instance. She's my one-on-one client. She is my sister. We call each other best bitches because we're like best friends. And then she's also my VA / organizing. She's starting to do a lot more within my business now as I'm starting to begin to scale and grow. And it just feels like when we get on a call for different things, we just put a different hat on, and it's like our relationship is just multifaceted, and it's so beautiful and divine and delicious. And it's not I think one of the things that people really struggle with understanding as to why we would work with our family is because I think for me, the reason why my family, for instance, pay me, and I'd love to hear your perspective as to why you have worked with your daughter. This is probably the same for you potentially, but I think the reason why so much of my family and even close friends have decided to work with me in a paid capacity is because they see us embody everything that we talk about online in real life. Yeah. Even deeper. And they're like, there is no, like, why would I ever go with anyone else? This woman has got it all. Exactly. She is 1,000% multifaceted. Yeah. She has so much to give. she shows up, like, and she doesn't even, like, my sister is the one who encouraged me to raise my coaching prices, because she's like, this is insane, like, you are not charging anywhere near as much because you have so much more to give, and you have so much more to give to your clients. So is it the same sort of thing for you and Viola as well?
Yeah, that's why I have that huge trust in her as my coach, because I see how much she grows. I mean, when she was like that younger years and started in the same business, that health business I was in, and she was so good at it. She had like such a talent to do it as well, but there was something with her finances didn't line up so well, right? And I saw her like struggling more and more and more with money, and I come with what I used to think, what money mindset has to be, like, well, do you not, you save always a little bit, for later, and like what I used, from my mother. And she would not share that with me because that was kind of, they were already grown up, and she had a man and stuff. That was their own thing. But I kind of knew, something is just not right there. And then when she then started sharing how much debt she had and how much she's actually coming out of it and changing and attracting all that, I saw her come through that. So why would I not trust her with her abundance mindset? Because she believed in abundance far before she ever had it. And that was hard for me to do that. It's hard for me to even probably do it in that situation now. Maybe I could, but she really, I watched her through that. Like, she amazes me. And that's why I can trust her so much. And why would you not invest in your own, like, family members when you see, how they were when they were younger, and now they're like this, how much they grew, it's not bullshit. It's like all solid. And yeah, that's why, I think family members is cool to coach for them. If you have the connection with them, and then, we learn so much about human design and like our makeup and our, like, everything. So probably in the designs is like some, I don't know a lot about design, but like some of the gates are just matching, or like some of the centers matching or something. It's just, that's how you could, like, probably align with coaches. Just something attracts you to them, like some of your energy vibes with the other person's energy, and that's why you come together. Or it's maybe even guidance from spirit, I don't know, but there is something why you choose a coach. And yeah, the more you know about a coach, the easier it is to choose them. And family is easy because you know them for a long time.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it feels like when I think about picking a one-on-one coach, for instance, whether it's family or not, I think it really just does really feel like you just know it's this energy, this vibe, this confirmation, whether it's, sacral for generators, it's just like a hell yes in your gut, or for, clinical, it just feels like a knowing. It's just like, yeah, I know this is the right thing. It's always scary, right? No matter what, obviously a lot of us have this generational and amongst other things, even past life / parallel life conditioning and stuff as well around money or scarcity, or, being unsafe and stuff like that as well. So it's always going to have those human limitations, right? But I think it's just this, it feels like a force of energy that's not going to stop. Like, it's going to be the most fun to jump on the wave and ride the wave rather than fight it.
Exactly. It's that force of energy. That's beautiful said. Yeah. You just cannot do it any other way. It's like, this is the way.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh my gosh. This is
what?
so
And it is sometimes scary to make that step to invest in a coach, but how good is it once you've paid it? Like, the best feeling ever, that you invested that money in yourself and you get that coaching for it, and so much comes out of that. It's the best feeling ever, and that money always comes back. I used to think when I spend money it never comes back to me, but now I believe I invest or I spend money and it always comes back to me in other ways. It's like, it's magic. You never actually not get back, if it's like an aligned decision, what you invest, you always get a return for it. And often monetary.
Yes, I totally agree. It's like we're always on a flow. We're always in the river. We're not jumping out and hanging on the riverbank because we've paid a bill or we've invested in something. And oh my gosh, the elation when you pay and when you make an aligned decision and pay an aligned coach is so euphoric. Like, I totally agree. It is the most exciting thing on the planet. Like, for sure.
Such fun. Do you want to tell everyone a little bit about how they can get in touch with you and what you've got going on and stuff, like what some of your current offers are?
I'd love to. Thank you so much for asking. So I'm known as Healthy Conny, and Conny is with the Y, and healthy, of course, too. And I'm on Instagram, and there's my hangout. I have stories that hopefully you'd like, and I have some posts there. And I haven't done a lot of lives on Instagram, but maybe I'll do that soon. And then if you are more like a Facebook type of guy or person or babe, I'm in the Mission for More, the Wellness Hub group. That is a free Facebook group. If you're interested to join my group, you are more than happy. I would be so honored if you could come, and please do so. And I have a website, which is also healthyconny.com. You can find all my offers in there. And I have one-on-one offers, either for one-off coaching or like for 4 to 3 months coaching, preferably like that transitional coaching. Like that's my strength, like the 4 weeks transitional coaching. And right now I'm launching a program. It's a self-study course, actually. It's the Mission for More Courage, Living Beyond the Limitations of Fear. And that's available also on my website, or just reach out to me and I'll send you the link. And that's like a self-study course with 6 modules where we dive right into what actually is going on with courage. What is your mind doing? What is your soul's wishes, and how you can integrate that all and really move forward and manifest the life you want. So it's homework and lots of support. I'll support you for 1 month after the purchase of the course. And it's amazing. I'm really loving the new course I'm just launching.
Wow, that sounds like an incredibly aligned offer, that's for sure, after everything we've talked about that you've done in your life with all the courage. For sure. I think that's absolutely incredible. We'll have all the links down in the show notes below for your group and your website and all the things, and Instagram, of course. And if you have enjoyed this episode, we would love for you to screenshot it and put it up on your stories and tag us both. That would be incredible, and tell us what you loved about our story or our conversation today. And I just want to honor you, Conny. Thank you so much for your time, for coming on here and sharing so much of your wisdom and your beautiful energy, and for the light and the love that you're sharing in the world. It's my absolute pleasure to connect with you in this way.
Oh, you're so welcome. I am so happy that I could be here with you, Angharad. It's always amazing to touch base with you. And I can just add that, I have met you maybe only like a year and a little bit ago, right, in the program. And you have done such an amazing journey. Like you rock, and I so love you, and I'm so happy you deserve every single success you have along that way. You worked for it. You're amazing, and thanks for the work you're doing. We need you.
Thank you so much, Conny. I really appreciate that. So much love. Oh my god. Thank you.
Thank you.
Finishing the day with an absolute high.
Yes.
Okay. Thank
Bye.
you, everyone. Thank you so much. Bye.
If you have enjoyed this episode, I would adore if you would screenshot it, chuck it up on your stories with your favorite takeaway moment, and tag me at Hi Bye Babe on Instagram, so that more people can see this and get this content and get this message out there to really shape and change and impact other people's lives. Do you desire to be around more high vibe women who really get you, who encourage you, who support you no matter what? Yeah, well, guess what? I have a place that you belong. It is called High Vibe Babes Community. It is a free Facebook group, and I would love to have you in there. There are so many free trainings and epicness in this group, so please get your booty in there. It would mean the world if you would subscribe to this podcast, do the reviews, the rating, the stars, all of the things. Thank you so much for being here. I cannot wait to chat with you on the next episode. I'm sending you all of the vibes and all of the love. Over and out from Angharad, the High Vibe Babe.